Individuals have gone missing for various reasons, such as depression, adoption, conflicts, or curiosity. However, video surveillance systems have helped to capture the last moments of some of these people before they vanished. These include Kenny Veach's mysterious adventure into the unknown and a young person who left their hometown without explanation. We examined 10 bizarre cases of people who were caught on camera before they disappeared without a trace. Number 10. Lars Mittink runs off without a trace. Football is a popular sport all over the world, with numerous clubs and devoted followers who fiercely support their teams and debate with one another. But who would have predicted that this passion would be involved in Lars Mittink's mysterious disappearance? His family was confronted with a horrific event that converted a nice trip to Eastern Europe into a nightmare, leaving behind an unexplained mystery. On June 30th, 2014, Mittink and 5 pals traveled to Varna, Bulgaria. It was at a local bar the evening before their scheduled return flight, when Mittink became embroiled in a heated argument with fellow Germans, all due to their allegiances in the world of football. As a devoted supporter of Werder Bremen, Mittink clashed with Bayern Munich enthusiasts, a rivalry of considerable intensity. Following their heated exchange, he parted ways with his friends outside a restaurant, vanishing into the night. The following morning, Mittink reappeared at the resort, revealing a shocking ordeal. He recounted being assaulted by 4 individuals, seemingly hired by the group from the bar with whom he had quarreled. This altercation left Mittink with a broken jaw and a perforated eardrum inflicted during the confrontation. Later, Mittink urgently reached out to his mother, Sandra Mittink, from the confines of the hotel. In hushed tones, he conveyed the imperative need to cancel his credit cards, fearing he was the target of impending harm or robbery. The hotel's surveillance system documented his restless movements as he wandered the corridors, gazing out of windows, and took refuge in an elevator. Subsequently, he briefly left the premises, returning an hour later. The activities during his absence were shrouded in mystery. Nevertheless, Mittink reached out to his mother again via SMS in the morning, expressing imminent danger and a relentless pursuit. He also told her that he had reached the airport. Reports suggest that Mittink's demeanor grew increasingly frantic as he vocalized his desperate desire to escape, adamantly asserting his refusal to meet his fate there. With an abrupt surge of resolve, he bolted from his seat, leaving behind all his belongings: wallet, cell phone, and passport. Airport security cameras captured his sprint from the terminal. Once outside, he appeared on camera again, racing away from the airport, scaling a fence, entering a meadow, and then vanishing from sight as he sped towards a nearby woodland close to the airport. This marked the last sighting of Lars Mittink, leaving behind a perplexing puzzle that continues to baffle investigators and loved ones alike. Number 9. Antoinette Cayadito abducted at night. On that ill-fated evening, Cayadito's mother Penny was out with friends at a local pub, leaving Antoinette in the care of a babysitter. It was around midnight when Penny returned home, relieving the nanny of her duties. Everything seemed fine until Penny realized that Antoinette was not in her bedroom the following morning when she woke up to prepare her daughters for Bible school. Initially, she hesitated to contact the police, thinking her daughter might be somewhere around the house or with neighbors. However, as she inquired with neighbors and no one had any information about the girl's whereabouts, she eventually made the call to the authorities. According to her sister Wendy, who only spoke about the incident 5 years later, the unsettling events began around 3 a.m. Around 3 o'clock in the morning, a knock echoed at the door, and it was Antoinette who answered. The visitor claimed to be Uncle Joe when she asked who was there, even though there was no such uncle. 2 men forcibly seized her as soon as she opened the door. Antoinette screamed and struggled as the men dragged her into a dark van. Wendy could not recognize the kidnappers because she never saw their faces. She was afraid to tell anyone what happened, especially her mother, because she thought they would not believe her. 1 year after Antoinette's disappearance, the Gallup Police Department received a distressing phone call from a young girl claiming to be Antoinette Cayadito. During the call, she mentioned she was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but before she could provide more details, the call abruptly ended. An adult voice followed, questioning why she was using the phone. Subsequently, the girl's screams and sounds of a struggle could be heard. In 1991, 4 years after she disappeared, a girl who looked like Antoinette was seen with a dirty and shady couple at a cafe in Carson City, Nevada. The girl kept dropping her utensils on the floor and grabbing the waitress's hand every time she picked them up. The girl seemed to want the waitress to notice something. When the couple left, the waitress found a napkin under the girl's plate with 2 messages: "Help me," and "Call the police." Sadly, these were the last words and the last sighting of the girl. Number 8. Trevor Deely followed by an unknown man. On December 8, 2000, Trevor Deely, an Irishman, disappeared in Dublin. He had left his office's Christmas party that night and was heading home around 4 a.m. He decided to go back to the bank where he worked to get an umbrella and get ready for his next day's work. He was seen by security cameras at his office and the bank, along with another man in dark clothes, who was never named but was suspected of being involved in Deely's disappearance. Deely checked out of Buck Whaley's at 3:25 a.m. on December 7th. He was on his way to his flat at Ballsbridge's Renoir building on Serpentine Avenue. Dublin had a stormy night, with winds reaching 60 to 70 miles per hour. There was also a taxi strike, which made it difficult to get a ride. Deely made it to his office and summoned security to let him in. He engaged in a conversation with his colleague Carl Pender, who was on the night shift. While making a cup of tea in his office, Deely reviewed his emails and compiled a list of tasks for the following workday. At 4:03 a.m., he left the office still carrying an umbrella as he made his way towards Ballsbridge. Reportedly at this time, he left a voicemail for a friend in Naas stating, "Hello, Glenn. I've missed you there. I'm just on my way home. Everything is good and we'll talk tomorrow." Interestingly, men dressed in black were observed waiting outside the bank's gates for approximately 30 minutes before Deely's arrival. Surveillance footage indicates a brief interaction between Deely and these individuals when he arrived at the bank. At 4:14 a.m., Deely was captured on camera walking past the AIB Bank at the corner of Bagot Street Bridge and Haddington Road en route to his apartment. About 30 seconds later, a man in black also passed by the AIB Bank. Authorities believe this may be the same individual who conversed with Deely outside his workplace. This man's suspicious behavior has led many to speculate that he could have played a role in Trevor Deely's unexplained disappearance. Number 7. No one knows Timothy Pitson's whereabouts. Timothy James Pitson, a 6-year-old boy, had a tragic and mysterious fate in May 2011. His father, James Pitson, took him to school in Aurora, but his mother, Amy Fry Pitson, picked him up soon after. They went on a 3-day trip to different theme and water parks. The shocking twist came when Amy Fry Pitson killed herself in a motel room in Rockford, Illinois. She left a note that said Timothy was safe, but would never be found. This chain of events began when, between 8:10 and 8:15 a.m., Amy falsely excused Timothy from school, citing a fabricated family emergency. At 10 a.m., she left her car at a repair shop and, with Timothy, was driven to the Brookfield Zoo by an employee. Around 3 p.m., they retrieved their car and journeyed to Gurnee, Illinois, where they spent the night at the Key Lime Cove Resort. The next day, on May 12, 2011, they visited the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells and were captured on security cameras at the checkout at 10 a.m. Tragically, Timothy has not been seen since. On May 13, 2011, Amy Fry Pitson reached out to several relatives, including her mother and brother-in-law, between noon and 1:30 p.m., reassuring them of her and Timothy's safety. These calls were traced to a location northwest of Sterling, Illinois, near Route 40, according to cell phone data. Strangely, she did not contact her husband, who had been searching for them after their son's absence was noted by the school on May 11th. At around 7:25 p.m. on May 13, 2011, there is surveillance footage of Fry Pitson shopping alone at a Family Dollar store in Winnebago, Illinois, where she purchased a pen, paper, and envelopes. She was seen alone again around 8 p.m. at Sullivan's grocery shop in Winnebago. Then, at 11:15 p.m., she went to the Rockford Inn in Rockford, Illinois. A hotel maid found her dead, and a note on May 14, 2011 at 12:30 p.m. In the note, Fry Pitson said she was sorry for the trouble she caused, and that Timothy was safe and with someone who loved him, but he would never be seen again. Number 6. Brian Schaffer mysteriously disappears. On March 31, 2006, Schaffer went out with his friends to welcome the spring season. He lost track of his friends, and they thought he had gone home. But around 2 a.m. on April 1st, a security camera at a bar entrance in Columbus showed him talking to 2 women briefly and then going back into the bar. After that, Schaffer disappeared without a trace. There was no other visible entrance or exit available at the bar. Schaffer's disappearance posed a perplexing mystery for investigators. Investigators have tried to formulate theories based on their analysis of the information and evidence. They have tested their theories against the facts and sought supporting or contradicting evidence. The evening before his disappearance, Schaffer and his father, Randy, had gone out for a steak dinner to mark the occasion. Randy noticed that his son seemed tired from the week's intense studying for upcoming exams. Although he didn't voice his concerns, Randy felt uneasy about his son going out that night with William Clint Florence. Schaffer and Florence initially met up at the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a bar in the South Campus Gateway complex on High Street in Columbus, at 9 p.m. An hour later, Schaffer called a friend, Wagner, who had gone back to Toledo to visit her family before their planned trip to Miami. As the night unfolded, Schaffer and Florence went bar hopping, making stops at various bars on their way to the Arena District. Florence recounted that they had one shot of hard liquor at each location. When the clock struck midnight, they met up with Florence's friend, Meredith Reed, in the Short North area. Returning to the Ugly Tuna Saloona, where their evening had begun, they had one final round of drinks. It was during this time that Schaffer mysteriously walked away from his companions. Despite repeated calls from Reed and Florence in an attempt to locate him, there was no response. As the bar closed at 2 a.m., they left along with other patrons, presuming that Schaffer had returned to his apartment without notifying them. Over the weekend that followed, both Wagner and Schaffer's father made numerous attempts to reach him by phone, but he remained unreachable. He also missed the scheduled Monday morning flight to Miami that he and Wagner had booked in advance. The Columbus police were alerted, initiating a search, but Schaffer had seemingly vanished into thin air. Number 5, Kenny Veach and the M-shaped cave. Humans have a strong desire to learn new things and solve puzzles that confuse us. But sometimes, this curiosity can lead us to unexpected and scary places. Let's look at the strange case of Kenny Veach, a Las Vegas man who was popular on YouTube as Snakebit McGee. He went on a hike in the Nevada Mojave Desert on November 10, 2014, and never came back. Kenny became famous online after he commented on a YouTube video by someone who claimed to be an Area 51 worker. Kenny Veach claimed to have stumbled upon an inexplicable cave with a distinctive M-shaped entrance near the Nellis Air Force Base. He recounted how his body quivered with an eerie sensation as he drew nearer to this unusual cave. He admitted that he always entered every cave he discovered, but this one was different. He was inspired by the reactions to his YouTube comment and decided to find the cave again and film it for his followers. He did not realize it then, but his comment would trigger a series of events that would make one of Nevada's most baffling urban legends. If only he had known that he was risking his life. If only he had trusted his gut and not listened to his followers who pushed him into danger. To please his audience, he went back once more, but his curiosity made him lose his way to the mysterious cave. He did not give up, and he went on a third trip to look for the cave a few months later. Sadly, this time he disappeared without a trace. Only his cell phone was found, left near the entrance of an old mine shaft. But his body was never found. Various speculations surrounded his disappearance. One suggested he might have become disoriented or met a tragic accident amidst the rugged canyons. Contrarily, there were unsettling suspicions that Kenny had chosen to end his own life, indicated by the intentional abandonment of his phone, making it difficult for anyone to locate him. Kenny had recently resigned from his job in pursuit of entrepreneurial ventures that had not panned out as expected. When questioned about the possibility of disappearing, he cryptically hinted that if he were to do so, no one would ever find him. His girlfriend revealed that he had grappled with depression, shedding light on his fragile mental state. Intriguingly, conspiracy theorists have woven a web of conjecture around Kenny's disappearance, drawing connections to the government due to the proximity of Area 51 and the Nellis Air Force Base. Some proponents of this theory posit that the M-shaped cave Kenny stumbled upon was an entrance to a clandestine government facility. They suggest that the strange vibrations Kenny felt near the cave were maybe a clever way to keep anyone from going inside. Kenny had bragged that he had solo hiked across mountaintops that most people wouldn't dare to go. He went on to say he had been in more caves than he could count and played with rattlesnakes for fun, and he had a very good safety record. Kenny Veach's disappearance is a haunting example of how human curiosity, the unknown, and the mysteries that fascinate us all come together. Number 4. Andrew Gosden, left for London without a trace. Gosden was a highly accomplished student at Macaulay Catholic High School. boasting a flawless attendance record. He was part of the Young, Gifted, and Talented program, designed to nurture the academic potential of the school's top 5% of students. He had also been projected to earn straight A's in his GCSE exams. Gosden consistently excelled, particularly in mathematics, where he was recognized as an exceptional talent, and it seemed he was destined for Cambridge. However, there were some peculiar aspects to his behavior. On 2 occasions before his disappearance, Gosden broke away from his usual routine. His parents reported that he claimed to have walked home from school instead of taking the school bus. On the day he vanished, Gosden left his residence at approximately 8:30 a.m. Surveillance cameras from neighbors captured him walking along Littlemore Lane towards Westfield Park. He then proceeded on foot to Doncaster railway station, where he purchased a one-way ticket to London for £31.40. Interestingly, the ticket seller suggested a return ticket for only a slightly higher cost, but Gosden insisted on a one-way fare. Despite the ticket seller's recommendation, Gosden was observed boarding the train to King's Cross Station alone at 9:35 a.m. He reportedly sat next to a woman who noticed he was quiet and engrossed in a computer game. Meanwhile, Gosden's teachers made efforts to contact his parents after he failed to attend school in the morning. They believed they had left a message with Gosden's parents, informing them of his absence. Unfortunately, the message was mistakenly left on the wrong person's phone, as the school dialed numbers above or below Gosden's in the register. Gosden reached King's Cross Station at 11:25 a.m., as confirmed by CCTV footage showing him exiting the station's main entrance. This marked his last known location. Prior to his disappearance, he took with him a PlayStation, a portable gaming device, his wallet, and keys, with no other missing items noted. His father noted that Gosden didn't seem to have brought a coat, sweater, or a charger for his PSP. He left behind approximately £100 in birthday money that he had saved. Number 3. Robert Hoagland, found dead after long-time disappearance. Robert Hoagland was a local chef and property appraiser who passed away on December 5, 2022. Robert was captured on security footage at a mobile gas station in Newton, Connecticut, during the early hours of July 28, 2013. He was shown buying a map and filling his wife's car with gas. His last known interactions with those who knew him occurred later that morning when he was mowing the lawn at their family home, bidding farewell to his children. However, Hoagland didn't show up to pick up his wife upon her return from an overseas trip that day. He also failed to report for work the following morning, raising concerns about his whereabouts. His disappearance led to various speculations, ranging from potential foul play connected to his son's drug issues to the possibility of him seeking a fresh start. On July 27th, Robert and Lori had a brief phone conversation where he confirmed his plan to meet her at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York City 2 days after her return from Turkey. The following morning, he drove his wife's Volkswagen Golf to a local bakery to fetch bagels for breakfast before making a stop for gas at a mobile station near Interstate 84 on Churchill Road. At around 6:45 a.m., surveillance cameras inside the station recorded him paying for gas and purchasing a map of the eastern United States. This marked the last confirmed sighting of him in public. The next day, around 4 p.m., Lori arrived at the airport, but Robert was nowhere to be found. Her attempts to reach their home and his cell phone went unanswered. She initially thought his phone's battery had died, causing a delay in his arrival due to traffic. Instead of returning home, Lori first visited a nearby relative. It was during this time that she learned from a call to Robert's boss's wife on July 30th that he hadn't shown up for work that morning. Upon returning home, Lori discovered that Robert was absent. His soiled clothing, along with his phone, keys, passport, and prescription medication for high blood pressure, were found in the laundry. Inside the house were Robert's preferred summertime shoes, the loafers he wore during his morning shopping errand, as well as his backup pair. The lawnmower he had been using had been returned to its usual storage place, and his Mini Cooper remained in the driveway. After an extended period of his unexplained disappearance, a dead man was finally linked to him. Number 2. Corey McKeague vanishes into wheelie bins. In the early hours of September 24, 2016, Corey McKeague mysteriously disappeared in the Suffolk, England town of Bury St. Edmunds. The last known glimpse of McKeague was captured on town center surveillance footage. The footage showed him entering a cul-de-sac surrounded by wheelie bins. His night had begun with a night out drinking with friends on September 23, 2016, in Bury St. Edmunds. On that fateful evening, shortly after leaving the Flex nightclub on St. Andrew Street South, McKeague and his companions went their separate ways. Allegedly, he was asked to leave Flex due to his level of intoxication, as reported by the doorman. Between 1:15 and 1:30 a.m., McKeague was spotted at his supposed regular late-night eatery, Mamma Mia's. The last confirmed sighting of McKeague on camera occurred at 3:25 a.m. on Bent Goville Street as he entered the Horseshoe area, a location known for its abundance of wheelie bins. Strangely, McKeague's disappearance went unreported until the following Monday, September 26th, when he failed to show up for work, having had the weekend off. Upon the report of his disappearance, authorities, including RAF search and rescue teams and the Suffolk Lowland Search and Rescue Team, mobilized to search the vicinity around Bury St. Edmunds in Huntington. The search was even supported by a police helicopter. There was a potential sighting of McKeague near the rear of a sugar plant in Bury St. Edmunds around 4:20 a.m., but this sighting was ultimately deemed unrelated to him, according to police investigations. Many people believe that McKeague, who was drunk, might have accidentally climbed into one of the wheelie bins and died there, possibly being picked up by a garbage truck later. This case is still puzzling and mysterious, with many unanswered questions about Corey McKeague's weird disappearance. Number 1. Stephen Kocher vanished without a trace. On December 13, 2009, at approximately noon, Stephen Kocher was captured on a nearby security camera exiting his car and parking it at the end of a cul-de-sac in Henderson, Nevada, United States. Another security camera also recorded his image reflected in a car window as he briefly returned to his vehicle, taking something from it. And from that moment, he vanished. Although there was some activity on his cell phone over the next 2 days, Kocher himself has not been seen since. Initially, law enforcement had limited leads, as it appeared he had intended to return to Utah and was not involved in any criminal activities. However, this initial assumption proved incorrect. While the purpose of his trip to the Las Vegas area that day remains unknown, his family believes he may have been searching for employment since his current job did not cover his apartment's full rent. Subsequent investigation revealed credit card and cell phone receipts, as well as witness accounts. These records indicated that Kocher had been traveling extensively throughout Utah and Nevada in the week leading up to his disappearance. Records also showed that he covered nearly 1,100 miles in a single day. Around 10 p.m., a neighbor remembered seeing Kocher entering his apartment. But he left once more half an hour later and was not seen returning that evening. A security camera in the southern Henderson neighborhood of Anthem in Sun City, a retirement community, recorded Kocher's car pulling into the cul-de-sac, where it was later discovered. At 11:54 a.m., a man wearing a white shirt and slacks, believed by his family to be Kocher, was seen walking along the sidewalk, carrying what appeared to be a file folder or portfolio. Later, his reflection was captured by another security camera in a garage on Evening Light Street as he walked north. Since then, no one has had any visuals of Kocher, but his phone remained active. 2 miles north, near the Russell Road, an Interstate 515 U.S. Route 93 intersection, the phone sent a tower ping early the following morning. Kocher's landlord sent a text, which was used to access Kocher's voicemail an hour later. However, the phone remained close to that tower for the next 2 days, suggesting that its battery had eventually died. Unfortunately, since then, there has been no further information about his whereabouts.